Hey,
Alyssa, you good if we got like 5 or 6 minutes of a little.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome. Rex, what'd you hear?
Generous of you, Alyssa. Thank you.
wanted to ask, what about parents with you may have mentioned this, but with like children with like I have a daughter with ADHD who can be very difficult and emotionally unregulated as much as I try to regulate her. Do you have any suggestions for parents of children like that?
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to the parent whose kid is on the spectrum, who said she almost thinks that these skills are more needed with, when you're working with a kid on the spectrum, and like really more focusing on controlling what's yours to control, right? That whether a kid has ADHD or on the spectrum, just recognizing that again, we can't control our kids in those moments, but we can model what we eventually want to see from our kids in moments when they're feeling angry, and focus really on controlling our own behaviors as opposed to our kids. It's not easy, right? But the more you can do that, I think the better.
Yeah.
So, what would you want to model? What would a parent model? And Rex and Dave both have 4 kids.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you model? I think, it would be in moments where you're feeling angry, instead of lashing out, instead of yelling, screaming, scolding, punishing, ideally acting in a way that's more consistent with how you want to be with your kids. Right. So for me, for instance, like, letting my values guide me. Like I want to be loving, kind, patient, respectful, even when I am feeling upset, or frustrated about something that's going on. So letting those values guide you in a given moment, and knowing that like it might be years and years before your kids, because again, kids' brains are developing, and they don't fully develop until the age of 25. So it may not be until well down the road that your daughter is able to do what you're able to do most of the time. But that would be what I would suggest, right? Really modeling that kind, loving, patient behavior, even in those hard moments.
Doing the exact opposite of what you feel like doing, maybe, right?
Yep. So maybe sometimes, for instance, it's like, it could be in a moment, speaking in a softer voice than you want to use instead of raising your voice. Saying like, I love you, I'm here for you, right? I know you're upset. I'd be upset as upset as you want to be, instead of saying like, just get over it, kind of, like, it's okay. It's no big deal. I'll move on.
I like what you said earlier about I love my kid more than my couch or whatever it is that may have gotten messed up. And something I've learned to do, and this is a similar thing, is I have to tell myself they're not doing this on purpose. They're not really aware sometimes of what they're doing. It's not with intent. They weren't like, oh, Dad spent whatever on this couch, I'm just going to destroy it. No, they're just like, oh, this is fun and whatever. They're just not thinking. So that's helped me a lot to respond rather than react, as Dave likes to say a lot. What led you to this this field, this discipline, this work?
Yeah, I mean, really, it was, I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, right, that I really love, or I love the work that I do, and that I was doing at the time, where I was primarily treating anxiety-related disorders and just helping people learn like they could feel that anxiety in full. They didn't need to do anything to make it go away, to reduce it. They could feel it and still do all the things that matter to them, that are important to them. They didn't need to let that anxiety dictate what they do or what they don't do. So seeing that work, and then also in grad school, I got to work with Marshall Linehan for 2 years, and like doing a lot of DBT work, and seeing again like how powerful and how helpful those skills could be for people, and realizing that the theory, like that underlying theory of I can feel a strong emotion and not need to let it hijack me, not need to let it control my behavior, that really could apply to parenting too. Seeing that in my own life, and then kind of bringing that theory, the strategies, those skills, to my work with my patients as well, really inspired me to keep moving in this direction, and ultimately led to me wanting to read this book.
Yeah. Do you have any recommendations too for people to be more aware of their emotions?
Oh, yes. It's a great question. I think one of the first things that I would say would just be to get curious and start observing them more often, like noticing in moments where maybe it's the moments when you do yell at your kid or at your partner, right? Just like kind of taking a beat afterward to think back what exactly was going on. In my book, I talk again about like the complexity of our emotions. I mentioned how I liken those emotions to cookies. Getting more familiar with the many components that make up our emotions, both what I call the primary ingredients and the secondary ingredients, can go a long way there. So you can get to know those and then think about like, oh, where are the vulnerability factors that might have left me more likely to experience that emotion today? Right? What were the thoughts I was having? What was the prompting event in the first place that was going on that set off that emotion? So just kind of getting a little more familiar with all these components can help too.
Yeah, learning to trace back to where an emotion started for me was a big help that I learned years ago. And just, oh, that's why I'm grumpy, or that's why I'm not happy, or that's why I'm sad today. And that took a while, though, because I did not grow up being taught that skill. Is there something that from your past, though, that like where you were like, oh, it unraveled a mystery for you that made you kind of go in this direction?
Yeah, so I share about this in my book that, right, I had all these tools, all these strategies, these theories, knew them well, and yet was struggling with my daughter. Really struggling. After my son was born, they're about 4 years apart. And I was just finding that like, I was so focused on trying to change her behavior, and it was just leaving me feeling more and more exasperated. It wasn't working. My guess is she was probably feeling bad about herself and about our relationship, about me. And I kind of talk about this like aha moment that I had in the book. But where I realized like, oh, I need to find a more compassionate approach where I'm more compassionate toward her, toward myself. I'm, not focused on trying to change her, but instead kind of accepting her exactly as she is. Bringing in like the strategies, right? Coming back to the treatments I provide, I'm not helping people change, get rid of anxiety. I'm helping them relate more skillfully to it. So I was thinking like, oh, how can I relate more skillfully to whatever I'm seeing at home with my kids, as opposed to trying to always change it, fix it, get it to stop.
An immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Yes, I have gone through that with all my 4 kids. Well, thanks so much, Alissa. This has been great.
Yeah.
And
thanks, Rex.
Thank you
all
for sharing the book. That was so kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. This really was fun getting to chat with you.
Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a second to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel at Utah Marriage Commission, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and interact with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and Facebook at Stronger Marriage. So be sure to share with us which topics you loved or which guests we should have on the show next. If you want even more resources to improve your marriage or relationship connection, visit strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, e-courses, in-depth webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producer, Rex Polanis, and the team at Utah State University, and you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission.